Hello and welcome to the Satluj TV podcast. Today's returning guest is Dr. Gurinder Singh Grewal, MD, who's not only a distinguished cardiology specialist in California with over 48 years of experience, he's also a passionate advocate for Sikh and Khalistan causes. He's a co-founder of SikhHeritageEducation.com that documents and archives material relevant to Sikh rights and history, and was also the co-founder of World Sikh News. That was a hard copy newspaper that ran for 12 years before the digital revolution took over. Deeply impacted by the events of 1984, Dr. Grewal has since then been a powerful advocate, ensuring the world never forgets those events. Dr. Grewal, welcome. Thank you for joining us once again today.
Good morning, Angus. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki Fateh.
A pleasure to have you on again. Now, on our channel, we often talk about Hindutva and its historic threat to particularly the Sikh community. We've also often talked about the caste system and pointed our fingers at the upper caste, particularly the Brahmins. And often we've confused Brahmanism with Hindutva. However, these two bodies are two very distinct entities. And these bodies and the root cause of their respective enmity towards Sikhs is what I'd like to focus on today. So, Dr. Grewal, to look at this, we do need to first understand what is Brahmanism and what, of course, is Hindutva. But let's start with Hindutva. Could you please elaborate, in your understanding, what is Hindutva?
So, Hindutva is basically Brahmanism in disguise. Hindu religion, there is no one single Hindu religion over a period of time. It's not a revealed religion. It has evolved over a period of time with the myths, worship is practiced, religious texts. But today, the Hindutva basically is a Brahmanism. It's based on the Manu Simriti. Manu Simriti is maybe thousands of years old. He divided the society into 4 or 5 caste system. So Brahman is the number 1 on the top. Brahman controls everything. They only had the right to learn, educate, and perform religious duties. Kshatriyas were warriors. Vaishyas were the business people, or maybe farmers. Shudras are the lowest class to serve the upper 3 class. And there's a class below that which basically has no rights. You can call them slaves. They did everything they were supposed to do. So if Brahman owned the land like a king, he didn't have to pay the taxes. Brahman was responsible for studying, teaching, performing sacrifices, officiating religious services. Brahman was advisor to the kings. Brahman entitled to get the gifts from the society. And Brahman, you don't become Brahman by studying. You are a Brahman because you're born in a Brahman family. So it's a hereditary priesthood. Only Brahman can have, the Brahman who's born in a Brahman. Brahman control the society from birth to death. So if the child is born, Brahman will come and perform some rituals. At the wedding ceremony, they will decide what is the best time to get married, and they will perform all those rituals based, and they talked Sanskrit, which nobody understood what they said. At death, they perform the rituals, and otherwise you don't get salvation. So even after death, people have to pay to Brahman, feed them, so that their ancestors will get those benefits transferred to them in heaven or wherever they are. So there's a yearly ritual which called Shraddhas. So it's the time of the year where people invite Brahman, they feed them, they eat so much they can't even walk. And their food is supposed to be transferred to their ancestors. If you don't do that, that means your ancestors are hungry. You can see the kind of stupidity they have. But Brahman is only 5% of the population. According to the last census, 5% of the population is trying to control the society in India.
So it's interesting then, and going back, I guess, over centuries, because of course the caste system is extraordinarily an old system. It is a system designed by a ruling elite for the ruling elite. It is designed to ensure that the offspring of the ruling elite continue to rule. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. So, over a period of time, there have been 4 or 5 big organizations which Brahmins have started, which all formed today's Hindutva. The first was the Brahmo Swaj. It was started in 1882 by a Bengali Brahmin called Raja Ram Mohan Rai. He's also known for good things like ending the sati system where the widow was supposed to be burned with the husband. So I give him credit for that. And he also educated people that the widow should be allowed to remarry. So there were some good things he did too. But his Brahmo Samaj was basically to perpetuate the Brahmanism in a soft version. So there's a well-known person called Rabindranath Tagore, very educated person. He wrote the current national anthem. His father, Devendranath Tagore, they were Brahmins, was also the leader of Brahmo Swaj. And their aim was also to have a society conform to the Brahmanism. Another person, I don't know if you heard of it, many people know him, they call Swami Vivekananda. He was also a Brahmin. He came to the first parliament of world religions, and he was considered a very educated person, impressed people, but basically his message was also the caste system is good for India, caste system is good for the world, it's better than the European system, and he basically was in favor of legalized caste system started by Manu. So these are the 3 prominent people who were part of the Brahmo Samaj, highly educated and sophisticated, but main aim is to keep the caste system, keep the lower classes subservient to that. Then came RSS. RSS founder was a Dr. Baliram Hedgewar. He belonged to a Brahmin family from Maharashtra. They were from Telugu Brahmins who moved to Maharashtra and Nagpur. His home is the current headquarters of RSS. So the RSS Rashtriya means national. So it's Brahmanism, but they are portraying themselves like they are the nationalist organization. They don't call themselves a religious organization. They call them, they are responsible for social good things. And they are paramilitary organization. So they train with some weapons, and the leader of them is responsible for educating the younger people. And they have a spread all over India. They started in 1925. Currently, they have thousands of their branches in India.
If I may, yeah, sorry, Dr. Grewal, I just wanted to just go slightly back a step, because I think there's an interesting parallel here. And I suspect it's no coincidence that the Brahmins were from the religious, essentially they were the religious ruling elite. And of course, coming from the religious ruling elite, it gives them an enormous power over society, particularly going back centuries, when people lived in fear. They lived in fear of their god, whichever god they happened to follow, or gods. And of course, the religious leaders could then dictate to society and therefore control society by interpreting, let's say, what the religious texts are. They can rewrite the text to suit their own agenda, or they can interpret the existing text to suit their own agenda. And it's very interesting, again, the parallels here with the West and even Christianity and other religions similar, where similar things have happened in the past, particularly centuries ago, where it was the religious leaders who in fact controlled society, and they dictated social laws and morality based on effectively what suited their own agenda. And I think that is an interesting parallel here with the Brahmins. They are dictating to Hindus and the population of what is now India, but the population of the subcontinent at the time. They are making the rules based on their own interpretation of the religious texts, which of course suits their own agenda and of course keeps them in control. Would that be a correct interpretation?
Yes, yes. They were the only one who have read something or educated. The other people just listened to them because they did not understood themselves. So they just follow whatever Brahman told them. So if we continue, so the second leader of RSS, which is called Guruji, was Golwalkar. He has written basically his version of the book where he says the Islam and Christianity is, because their origin is outside India, they are called Malaysians. So they are not Indians, but everybody else is a Hindu. Sikhs, Jains, Soka Hindus, everybody else is a Hindu. So this is what current people are following, what he advocated, that everybody is Hindu. So the conflict we have with them is we are saying we're not Hindus. So that is what is leading a lot of problem now. But this 5% of the population still has a big hold on the Indian society. So the current leader is called Mohan Bhagwat. He is a RS president since 2009. He is also Brahman. So except one, everybody who was RSS leader, or we can call president, they call something else in Hindi, has been a Brahman, nobody outsider. So this is a Brahmanical society. Only Brahman can lead and everybody has to serve them. Then came the Jansangh. Jansangh changed its name to BJP. So that's the current political party in power, although this time they didn't have a total majority. Jansangh was founded by Mukherjee, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. He was a Bengali Brahmin who started the Jansangh. He was highly educated. He became Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University when he was only 33 years old. So his thing was also to perpetuate the caste system. He was a minister in first government after British rule, Nehru's ministry, in charge of Labor Department. He was not a congressman, but he was accommodated because Nehru realized the importance of RSS. So after partition, there was a meeting called Delhi Pact or Nehru Liaquat Pact, where the Prime Minister of Pakistan came to Delhi and they made a pact. Basically, it was to protect the minorities like the Muslims who left in India or Hindu Sikhs left in Pakistan. So they have a pact to respect their property and protect them. He did not like it. He resigned his job opposing that pact, which was safety of minorities. And he started this party, Jansangh. He went to 1953, he goes to Jammu and Kashmir, which at that time has a special status. So he went there to protest against this special status. He took Vajpayee, who was a young man then, became prime minister later with him. But at the border, he told him, you go back to Punjab and organize Jansang. And also their aim was to make sure that Sikh majority state or Punjabi language state does not come into existence. So Jansang leader Mukherjee went to Jammu and Kashmir. He was given permission, but then he was arrested. 2 or 3 days later, he died. He had a heart problem, so he could not live very long. Then Vajpayee, who was a young man, went with him to Kashmir, but did not go to Kashmir. He became powerful. Was also a Brahmin. He became prime minister 3 times. He was a member of parliament multiple times, including the upper house. He was also for the Brahmanism, but a little softer version. He is also known as a poet and educated man. He didn't marry, but he had a relationship with the lady. He produced a daughter from it. Now they say it was adopted, but the book came out now that he was living in a house with another married couple, and he was his second husband. So you can see how good he was. Then there's another organization came into existence called Hindu Mahasabha. It was started by Lala Lajpat Rai, and Mr. B.S. Munjay was its president from 1927 to 1937. I don't know if you remember the name Munjay. This is the gentleman who had a pact with Ambedkar that he agreed Ambedkar can convert to Sikhism, and together they can fight Islam and Christianity. But Gandhi did not approve it, so that never happened. So this is the gentleman who was a leader of Hindu Mahasabha. In 1937, he was followed by Savarkar, who is also known as a Veer Savarkar. He was a Hindu nationalist, and under his influence, Hegdewar also came in and who started RSS. So these are all the founders of. Then there was another organization which still kind of exists called Arya Samaj. The founder of this was Swami Dayanand. He came from Gujarat to Punjab. He is best known for spoiling Hindu-Sikh relations in Punjab, and he created divisions. He also insulted Guru Nanak. He said, he did not know Sanskrit, so he was not educated. So his followers are still there. They started these DAV colleges and became very prominent in education systems. So these are 4 big organizations that I think are responsible for continuing Brahmanism or propagating Brahmanism, all founded and run by Brahmins. 5% of the people still trying to control 95% of the society. It is not going to be possible now because we have social media, we have education, and people are getting entitled to the education, and they are doing better for themselves. The so-called Shudras are standing up in several states. There's a problem in Punjab, but in 100 years, they have become very powerful. They control the government. They are killing whosoever they want. There's a TV station called India Today. It used to be a magazine, but I have not read lately, but it was considered good one time, and then you could see the bias. Even on that TV station, recently I saw there was a program. There people are being lynched, the Shudras. There's a Muslim boy, the mob attacks him with the suspicion that he is carrying a beef. There's no proof he's carrying a beef, just the suspicion was enough to kill him. There's a member of Maharashtra Assembly, that's Bombay, who's saying, give me the gun, I'll go shoot them in the mosque. So this is the environment currently they have. So why are they so antagonistic to the Sikhs? The Sikhism was founded by Guru Nanak. He was born in 1469. So he rejected Brahmanism. He was only 9 or 11 years old when all the Hindu boys were supposed to wear the sacred thread they call Janeu. He refused to do that. He told a Brahman, "This is good for nothing. I don't need that." So they became very upset. At his marriage time, he also rejected Brahmanism. He said, "I don't need your auspicious time to marry." So he did his marriage his own way. So right from the beginning, the Brahman and the Sikhism has a problem because Sikhs are now not following what the Brahman wants. But they have not given up. They keep calling us that we are the Hindus, and that struggle continues. So then, the Brahman control the marriage. You couldn't marry unless Brahman decided what was a good time, and they performed the rituals. So there was a gentleman, his name was Randava, maybe last name. He became a Sikh of third Guru, Amar Das Ji, and his daughter was of marriage age. When he wanted to marry off her, the Brahman said, "No, I'm not going to marry your daughter. You go to your Guru." And that gentleman became very distressed. With the tears in his eyes, he goes to Guruji. He said, "Please arrange marriage for my daughter. If you can't do it, my daughter will not marry because I'm never going to submit to the Brahman." So third Guru asked the fourth Guru, who was not Guru then, sitting there, his son-in-law Jethaji. He said, "Please go arrange this marriage." And this is the founding of first Sikh marriage we call Anand Karj. He composed 4 lamas where their daughter was married. So this now, the Anand Karj also ended a monopoly of the Brahman and the marriage system they have. So one more thing for them to lose in life of the Sikhs. One by one, they were being rejected. Then the fifth Guru composed Guru Granth Sahib. In Guru Granth Sahib, there's teachings of Sikh Gurus, 15 Pagas and 11 Pats for Gursikhs. So there's teachings or writings of Hindu saints, Muslim saints, the low caste, by including the low caste Pagas teachings in the Guru Granth Sahib. Basically, he uplifted them to the level of Guru. This annoyed Brahmins. They also connived with the Muslims, and he was martyred. Yes, fifth Guru was martyred, but that did not stop the Sikhism. Then the sixth Guru founded the system we call Miri Piri. He said, "We are responsible for our religious life and political life." He constructed the Kal Takht. That's the seat of temporal power. It still exists today. Indian government destroyed in 1984. It was rebuilt. So it's basically not a building, but an institution representing a thought process. So that ended one more Brahmanical practice. And sixth Guru started raising army. He realized to fight this oppression, we need an army. I'm happy to tell you that our ancestor, one of our ancestors whose children we are, descendants are, was a full-time horseman with him all his life. And his marriage was also facilitated by the Guruji. So after this sixth Guru, then there were 2 Gurus, basically they were very young. The ninth Guru gave a life for Brahmanism. Even Brahmans say he died, he was martyred because he was trying to protect the Brahmins, but still animosity continues. Even the ninth Guru gave their life. The 10th Guru was the last Guru. He founded a Khalsa. Basically, he created the Khande Di Paul. Before, to adopt some Guru, the people used to uh, wash their feet and drink that. He ended that. He put in a ball and put khanda as a weapon and put some sweet water. And he called 5 people who were willing to sacrifice their heads. So one by one, 5 of them came, and they were all from different caste system, mostly low caste. Only one from Punjab, 4 from outside. They all took Khande Di Paul and became Sikhs. So they became from timid low caste people who were not supposed to fight. They became warriors and joined Guru Gobind Singh. Guru also took Khande Di Paul Amrit from them, so they became all equals. This Khalsa brotherhood ended whatever there was, a little remnant of Sikh, Brahmanism in Sikh life. So these are the contrast things I'm saying in comparison to Brahman. The Brahman has a hard time accepting us as equal or better because Sikhs now do not follow Brahmanical practices, and they will keep calling us Hindus, and that's one of the main conflicts we have. With the help of social media like Satluj and all that, I don't think they can control us. There's a, you can call it a renaissance now in India where Brahmins' hegemony has to end. And this is one of the problems the RSS has with the people. They are losing ground. Look at the last election. Even where the Ram temple was created by destroying a mosque, and they had done everything they could. In that constituency and 4 neighboring constituencies, the BJP still lost the election. So that tells me that people are waking up, RSS is losing, and hope we will continue to make a progress. We want our own homeland. I'm sure all the low caste people want some freedom. There's a lot of problem in South, and they are going to hopefully someday be liberated. So in the end, I'm going to read a couple of stanzas from a book. This book is called Hum Hindu Nahi. When Dayanand came to Punjab, Arya Samaj, he said, you all Hindus. So this educated, well-informed Sikh wrote a book called Hum Hindu Nahi. That means we are Sikhs, we are not Hindus. So this is in Punjabi, but there's an English version available now too. So I'm going to read a couple of stanzas from them. The author is Bhai Khan Singh Nabha. We do not accept the authority of the Vedas, neither that of Simritis, that's Manu Simriti, and Puranas. We worship neither the Parva nor Ganesha. We recognize neither Tithis, nor omens, nor days, neither Rahu, Ketu, Shani, Shukar, Sun, nor Moon. We do not believe a bit in sannyas, Shuta, caste, Varna, Jantar, Mantar, fasting, Homa, or Shraddha. Disciples of the 10th Guru Khalsa Panth is a distinct reality. Ignorant is he who calls Khalsa as Hindus. So this is basically listed all the rituals they have, the Sikhs reject. Then the second stanza says, we acknowledge one eternal primal Lord. The whole expanse has originated from him. Forgetting the Creator, we do not worship any mortal. Guru Granth is our faith, our sport. We have abandoned all distinctions of caste. We are friends of all and love all. Love of all is like that of lotus in water, distinct to the Khalsa of Guru Nanak. So in the end, what I try to say that by quoting from this book, the Sikhs are a very distinct entity. They are not Hindus. RSS, BJP, Arya Samaj, Brahmo Samaj, they are all Brahmanical organizations organized by Brahmins to control the society. 5% was the population of the Brahman according to the last census, maybe plus minus now. So this 5% of the people are trying to control the society. In modern world, with the advent of social media, education, and freedom, I think they are going to be losing, and they're losing badly, but they are getting more violent. That's what we have to watch. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Grewal. That was a fascinating summary of what's brought us today. And I have often asked why both Hindutva and the Brahmins seem to have particularly targeted Sikhs. And the reason clearly goes back to the very establishment of the Sikh religion all those centuries ago. But very clearly, Sikhs are philosophically totally different to Brahmins and Hindus. But whatever happens, the Sikh community will always remain a threat. So as a final question to you, Dr. Grewal, things are clearly not going to change. However, you do believe that things are changing to some degree within India, that you believe more people are waking up to the threat of Brahmanism. However, it's clear that this serpent has many heads, as you yourself have explained. It's wherever you crush it, it appears somewhere else in a different form. So do you not think it is better for the Sikh community, instead of trying to change India for the better, abandon that whole concept and instead just focus its energies on Khalistan? Because we do know, of course, Khalistan can break away from the evils of this caste system, break away from Brahmanism and everything that comes with it. So do you think the community should focus more on the whole efforts towards Khalistan?
I agree. I think that's what the community is doing, but education is the main thing. I think educating people in Punjab and India is very important. That RSS, what they're doing is not for nationalism, it is for Brahmanism. And the education is very important. If we have a time, I would like to say some parallel story that I have read. Do we have a little time? Okay. So Jesus Christ used to go to Jerusalem every year because of the religious beliefs and all that. The last time when he went, there used to be three groups of priests in Judaism. They're three separate segments, but they're priests. They control their life. So when he's going there with his followers. The first thing they have to do, they have to clean themselves. You know, it's a desert community. They take a bath, clean themselves before going to the pious places. So they have to pay there. The one sect of the Judaism priests, I don't remember all the names, but I can just remember what I read. So you pay them to wash yourself and clean yourself. Then you went to the city. Now they have to offer animals for sacrifice. So to buy the animals, you have to buy from them. But then the temple priests, they say, no, they don't accept the currency of the Romans. So now you have to change Roman currency to the temple currency. So they charge you money for that. And then after changing that, you buy the animals and they sacrifice and you give the animal to them and they sold the meat outside. So with the last time he went, when they entered there, he threw all those tables with the money in exchange. He said, what the heck are you doing in my father's house? So these people felt threatened. They said, look, if this continued, then we are finished. We have no control over this society. So they were kind of, parallel. Their priests or Brahmins, they felt so threatened, they go to the Pontius Pilate, the prefect, Roman prefect. They said, no, you got to kill him. He said, he's not done anything against this state. Why should we kill him? Then they say, well, you don't know. He says he's a king, but the king is a Roman king. So with all kind of manipulation, they were able to finally have him martyred. But Christianity grew to 1 billion, and they're still the same. So they killed the fifth guru. They have killed many Sikhs. I can assure you that they can kill a Sikh, but they will not be able to kill Sikhi. Sikhi is going to progress. The only way we can progress if we don't give up the teaching of gurus. We need to reject the caste system. There's still a little remnant of caste system in Sikhs, not in Sikhism. I think that's mostly because of social economic status. You know, the rich people always want to associate with rich people. It's natural. Kings always want to marry their daughter and son to the king. So it's that kind of not a religious caste system. So hopefully that will end one day too. So Modi can kill a Sikh. He can kill a Sikh in Canada, England, Pakistan, but he won't be able to kill Sikhism or Sikhi. That I think will survive, but it depends how hard we work and we keep our belief system, teach to our children. It will someday happen. We will have a free homeland. I don't think it's too far.
A very powerful message to finish on, Dr. Grewal. But unfortunately there we must leave it. But we will, of course, be talking again with Dr. Grewal soon to continue our discussion. Dr. Grewal, it has been an absolute pleasure as always. Thanks so much for joining us. And thank you for watching the Satluj TV podcast. We will see you next time.
Thank you.